We'll continue thinking about auxiliary views, and we'll think about what circles look like in auxiliary views when you've got an inclined surface. I'm showing you a picture of an overpass at the Olympic Sculpture Park up in Seattle. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this long wall here, this is an art installation, and it's got shaded stuff with circular holes cut in it. So if you look straight on at this wall, those are circles. However, if you go there in the morning, I think I was here about 9 o'clock in the morning, but I forget what time of year. Anyway, the sun was coming through those circular holes at an angle. And what kind of shadow pattern did they make on the sidewalk? Look at this. Those are ellipses. I wanted to show you this so you could see how when your line of sight looks at a circle from an angle, it turns into an ellipse. That's the basic thing that happens when you have auxiliary views with circles in them. So it looks like a circle in the auxiliary view, it looks like an ellipse in the other views. Here's this part, we saw this last time, there's the circle, but in the side view it is foreshortened, and in the top view it's foreshortened, and it becomes an ellipse in each view. And to be kind of repetitive, okay, another circle in an auxiliary view, ellipses in the other views. We'll go to a CAD drawing and look at how we would lay these out. And this is the part that we're going to draw for assignment 5. It looks like this. It's I don't know if it's cast or machined or what it is, but it's bent at a 135-degree angle. In other words, 45 degrees off of vertical. And this leg is 5/8 of an inch thick all the way along, and we're going to draw a side view, a front view, a top view, and an auxiliary view. And we're still not dimensioning anything, so don't worry about dimensions, we're just drawing these views. And as I note at the bottom of the slide, there's a 3D CAD model that we'll go look at in a minute. And I have a 2-page cookbook for you. It's 2 pages of PDFs that you can download, and we'll go look at those too. In this part, notice that these edges are 5/8 of an inch thick all the way along in the vertical leg and the sloping leg. So you can use offset to draw those edges and make them 0.625 or 5/8 all the way up. Now what that means is that the corner here, the outside and inside corner, are not going to be lined up. That's just the way it is. Notice how the inside corner is a little bit low. Let's back up and look at our drawing. What do we know? We don't know what size the inside corner is. We know the outside is 4 inches high. So that's the part you could draw. You could draw that 4 inches. I'll show you. Then the hole. You probably want to draw this side view and part of the auxiliary view if you can, and then start projecting lines over to make the ellipse. So here's where you draw as much as you can. Sorry, I stole this out of another textbook, not our textbook, because it looks kind of similar to the one we're drawing. And the one I stole does not have radiused corners. The one I put in your cookbook does have radiused corners. So we'll draw as much as we can. And oftentimes you're just working back and forth. Draw part of one view, draw part of another view, just keep chipping away. Then we want to figure out where does this big hole pass through this sloping face. And we'll notice the point where that hole intersects that sloping surface. And we will draw a projection line from that point over into the front view. Over into the front view, and where the center line passes through, we'll project a line over. So now we've got 3 lines that mark where that hole went through that sloping face. And you can possibly already notice how the height of that hole is getting foreshortened. It's going through a sloping face, and so when you come over here to the front view, that height is foreshortened. The width is not foreshortened, so however wide that hole is, I forget, 1 inch, I think, something like that, the width is still full width. It's just the height that got squished. So we can draw construction lines for the width. Now we have a nice box, and inside that box we can use our ellipse command and draw an ellipse. Now, when you look straight towards this sloping face, and there's a big old hole going through that face, you're going to see the back edge of the hole peeking out through this gap. And so you'll draw another projection line from the back edge of that hole. It's visible here. Draw that projection line straight over here. Make a copy of your ellipse and drop it down onto your projection line, and then trim away the stuff you don't need. We'll look at that in our cookbook and in our Cad drawing. Some people like to draw hidden lines. Some people don't. I guess I kind of feel like this could be an example of 1 layer back, and the hidden lines are just too much. They're confusing. Or you might decide those hidden lines do reveal something about the part, and you could put them in. Either way is correct, is what I'm saying. You could do either one. This big hole, I think it's 1 inch diameter, and those corner radii are the same size. The hole looks like an ellipse in the front view, and that corner radius looks like an ellipse in the front view because it got foreshortened also. So now let's look at our 3D model I was mentioning. Here's our 3D model, and this is what the finished part would look like if you actually machined one. I'll get my 3D orbit command, and let's rotate it so that we're looking straight on. Look at that. When we're looking straight on, everything looks square in this flat surface, but up in that top surface, there's that hole. It has turned into an ellipse, and there's that back surface where it looks like a part of an ellipse. Now let's see what this thing might look like from a top view. So I'll rotate it down this way. Now we're seeing, looking at the top view, that hole looks like an ellipse, and there's the back surface of the hole just peeking out through the hole. Notice that in the top view, it looks a little bit different than it does in the front view. And then here's our side view. This is a 3D model, so we're not seeing the hidden lines. All right. How are we doing on time? Let's go over to our 2D drawing right here. And I'm not sure how we're doing on time. fiddling around with our video recorder. Well, let's see, can I get that thing to stop? I've lost my doodad. So we'll just keep going until it shuts us off. How about that? So here in this front view, here are my parallel lines, and I'm going to go up 4 inches. I'm going to go up 4 inches. I think I'll turn on my ortho. I'll turn on my ortho line, go up 4 inches. Now I'll turn off my ortho, and I'll turn on my polar tracking. I'll set it to 45. Oh, looky there. And I'll go up 2.5. Enter. Okay, there are my 2 surfaces for my part. Now I'm going to use offset, and I'm going to offset at 5/8 or 0.625. Enter. I'll offset this line, and I'll offset this line. And now when I zoom in, I have some cleanup to do. First of all, I need to close the 2 ends of my part. And then I need to do some trimming here, don't I? Trim. There. Now, the next thing I could do, perhaps, I could start working on my front view. I'll turn ortho on for a minute. There's my front view. Oh, stop that. I accidentally hit my view cube. And line. I'll just go to there. And how wide is this thing? 2.5 inches wide. So line up to here, and I'll do an offset 2.5 inches wide from here to here. Now I'm starting to get the form of my ear thing here. Oh, I better extend that one. Okay. And I could now trim. I'm using that. Oops. That was a mistake. You know why? Because this thing needs to extend all the way. There we go. Okay, now I'll do trim. Trim. So there's the beginning of my front. Now, the next thing I probably want to do is start making my auxiliary view. And in this cookbook I have given you, it looks like this. And this cookbook is just, I just printed the paper space from this drawing that we are looking at now. And I am stepping you through one step at a time. Here's how you could draw this thing. Okay, so moving over here, let's make a copy of this one here. I hope we're not running out of time. I don't know where my video timer is. So let's say you've gotten this far. And now you want to make the foreshortened view, the ellipse over here. So I know that my hole is 1 inch